Excited to jump into Illuvium Overworld, but not sure where to start? You're in the right place because I'm going to guide you through the game's tutorial step by step with extra tips here and there to make sure you get started smoothly. This is part of my Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Illuvium Overworld, which is a video series and playlist breaking down everything that you need to know. If you find this helpful, please like for more Illuvium tips. Now, let's get started. Once the game loads, you're going to click on Passport Connect next. So you're going to be taken to the screen. Set the name of the ranger that you want to have. From here, I'm just going to click continue. This is just going to say you're going to get email updates from them. For this part where it says claim your testnet ETH, for this point in time, we're just going to ignore this. I'll go into detail of they're going to be providing us with like a small budget of ETH that we can use to buy resources because we're testing out various functions of the game. But at this point, don't worry about it and just click skip. Now we're going to click on start exploring. This is going to bring us directly into the tutorial after you set up your character. So here you can set up your character, you change your gender down here, then you can change your body type. The most important thing here is there's going to be 4 drones that you can choose from. These drones have special abilities that make it easier to capture illuvials when you're hunting them inside the overworld. Mozart basically has lasso and then slows down the illuvials for a few seconds so that you can continue shooting them to damage them, so then you can bring them to the point of capture. Bach actually releases and shoots things at the illuvials, increasing the damage that's done to them. Hilde, what she does is she creates like a box that freezes them for like 3 seconds. And then Chopin, for 5 seconds, you'll be able to move faster. And the gun that you shoot currently has a overheat mechanic, so you can't just hold it down. So you have to maintain that or be aware of that. With Chopin, you don't have to worry about that at all, that you're not going to overheat. To be honest, the easiest one that I've found is just to be using Mozart, that I just have been using and still use to this day. Now we're going to head over to Overworld at the top. Arena, you can play in Arena and still count for the airdrop, but we're going to focus on Overworld because capturing alluvials and doing more things in Overworld leads to more points that gives you better rewards, in-game events, and potential airdrops for open beta. So click on Play Overworld. This is going to take us directly into the tutorial next. So here your ranger is going to be dropped into the tutorial, and then we're just going to go over the various steps. So we're limited into this small part of the map, and we don't have full access to the map so that they can teach you all the different mechanics. So here I'm going to go over all the different things and just a few quick tips of what you need to remember. Here, you press M. Whenever you go to a map, it'll show you the full map. You can use your mouse scroll to zoom in and zoom out, and then you have your icons on this right side that'll help tell you what those things might be. The other thing that you're going to do that it's letting you know is to press H. This is one of those things that I forgot from the tutorial, but it's incredibly important. You're going to be looking for ore or plant or illuvials, and what this tells you is that there's a concentration of those things in that part of the map. So when I was first playing the game in private beta and even like into open beta, so then I'd be like exploring the map in like the blue and green areas, and I barely find anything to interact with. So it was a big waste of my time. So one of the things that you want to do is just open up the map and then press H so that you can see where things are. There's going to be a deposit in front of us. That's one of the things that you're farming. When you right click on the map, it sets a custom marker that you set. And this is important when you're actually exploring, that it'll send this ray of light so that it's easier to know where you want to go inside the map. Here are the different controls that you're going to be learning inside this tutorial. When you hold shift and you're on the ground, you're going to sprint. And then if you press control, while you're running, you slide. They don't mention it. They should mention the gravity boots before the jetpack. But when you press jump, that's your gravity boot. But you double jump. If you hold spacebar, it holds you in place. So that's going to be important later. So space, hold space, double jump. You can keep jumping until your stamina bar empty at the very bottom. It's just like a lot of other shooters where once that depletes, you won't be able to use it again. You have your W, A, D, S keys. So then those are your movements for those people who are new to FPS games as well. So spacebar, shift, and just hold shift, and then you'll be able to move around. So for this part, for you to glide when you're airborne, you have to be at a certain height. So if you just double jump, this is not high enough for you to place shift and to glide in the air. You have to jump higher. So just triple jump, shift, and then control. Then you're able to glide in the air. This will be important later when we're moving through the map. One of the reasons why it's like why would I want to glide in the air compared to just doing my jetpack is because the jetpack uses up more of your bar at the bottom. You're gonna want to glide to cover more ground because it uses up less of your bar. So when you're traveling from like that top area to this top area, or if it's far, you'll be using that so you can conserve your bar energy at the bottom. It's gonna have us mine deposits and harvest plants. So we're just gonna get past this part really quick. So if you just go close to one of these, the tutorial is gonna come up. I'm gonna press 2. Press 2 just means that you're switching to farming mode. Now you have this charge burst. So hold left click, and then once it shoots one of the things that you can interact with, your drone will go out there and mine for you. If you press Q, it'll activate your visor. And then you can see this orange highlighted thing shows that that's something inside the environment that you can interact with. And then that's another ore. Just charge up your shot and farm those. The other thing, if you notice, is if I aim in the air, it slows down time. So that's going to be helpful for being able to capture illuvials, being able to jump while you're going through different parts of the terrain, and then make sure you capture stuff while you're dropping down. So I'm just going to finish farming all of this ore, and then you have one more plant to go, and then you can see it over there. The range on your drone is far. So you can farm from very far away. Now, this part, if you just zoom in with right click for aiming, you can see there's an alluvial over there. For this part of the tutorial, it's going to have you capture it. There's a few tips for capturing alluvials in general. You want to be out of their line of sight so that they don't get scared and start running. You want to switch to your one gun, so just press 1, and then you'll switch to this gun. And then you want to be careful of your overheat mechanic. If you hold it down and you're just shooting, you'll overheat, and then you have to wait till there's a cooldown. So you want to make sure to avoid that, avoid being seen by them. So if you put out your Q, you can see where they're facing. F is your drone's ability. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double jump, shift, I'm going to press F, and I'm going to right click to shoot. And then my drone is slowing him down. I'm just barely pressing left click just to make sure that my overheat mechanic doesn't overheat. Now, once you get here, you'll see you can hold E to scan and R to fight. Most of the time in the very beginning, you're just going to be fighting, but later on the later stages, you're going to want to conserve your energy, and then you're going to want to hold E to scan because you'll have a bunch of alluvials at that point, and then you're going to be capturing certain alluvials either for your airdrop points to complete or for events like the one that's going on right now. But what I mean by these energy points is if you look at your bottom right corner right here where you see the 750, you have a total of 4,000 energy points. I think it's called airgun points. Activity, every action that you do inside the overworld typically has cost energy. So when we were farming the different minerals, farming the different plants, they have uses up different energy. So you want to keep that in mind. And at the later stages, this is going to matter more because you're going to have to pay valuable resources to get to stage 1, 2, and 3, the higher stages. Stage 0, there's no cost yet. So you can this won't matter as much. So from here, we're just going to fight for now. So there's 2 parts of capturing alluvials. It's inside the overworld where you run into them. Then you have to damage them. That causes instability. And you raise that bar all the way up. And then they turn into that wormhole rift warp thing. Here, it's going to be an auto chess battler type match. So if you played auto chess from Dota or TFT League of Legends, it's pretty much the same mechanic. So here you can just drag and place anywhere your units. It won't matter that much right now. Your enemies, a trait, will be on this right side. So this is their affinities and their elements and their classes. And for now, we're just going to click start. You can use your same movement buttons, and then you can use your right click to control your camera and zoom in, zoom out so that you can get while they're auto battling, you can do different things. Get on out. For this part of the encounter, don't worry, you're going to lose all the time. There's nothing you can do. Now they talk about Ergon energy. Now that it's depleted, we have to use the obelisk to return to Sanctum Mesa. Sanctum Mesa is your base. These obelisk things are basically your teleport waypoint areas. And then here, it's just a reminder that you have
450 remaining power. You don't want to waste that at higher levels where you use resources, but at stage 0, which we're at, it doesn't matter. Now we teleported to your Sanctum Mesa, which is your home base. If you open up, if you press M, and then you just zoom out a little bit, we're going to be heading to this area. And this is your home base area where you're going to be doing a lot of the different in-game activities that help you progress through the game. So we're just going to move towards that yellow beacon. And then here you can just practice different movements. And then if your bar is recharging, you can always just hold shift. And it's still pretty fast as you're sprinting. But at later levels, it's going to get harder and the alluvials get stronger and they get faster. So it's going to be important to upgrade this equipment later, which I'll go into soon. You're going to be coming to this forge a lot because this is where you upgrade your equipment, and that allows you to do more things within the overworld. Future Jeff here. One of the things that you're going to notice that's different from when I recorded to after the patch is there's going to be UI differences. The information is still generally the same, so the information will be good moving forward. You'll just notice a little differences. I'll also pop in and out to describe some of the other changes that are important. This part of the tutorial, we're going to be crafting a weapon. And here, it's going to have us craft. This is the crafting recipe. The ingots you get from mining the different stone ores that we saw. The shard, the essence, come from mining and farming the different plants. All plants drop a certain type of essence. Depending on the essence will depend on what stage you have to farm. And then we'll go over which map stages there are later. We have all the materials required now, and then we're just click forge the sword inside your inventory now. Now we're going to create a shard. This is basically creating Pokeballs. These will have a higher chance of dropping from the green rock. These are important because you need different shards to capture different tiers of alluvials, and they have higher rate of success depending on which tier or shard that you create. We're going to create 4 of them. You're going to look at all the stuff that you have by pressing I, which brings up your inventory. Now you can see this is where the Earth Sword is now inside our equipment. And if you click on it and you drag your left button, it'll bring up your inventory wheel. This is what you'll be able to see inside the battles as well and inside Arena. And you just drag it to a weapon slot. Press M, and we're going to head back to capture that alluvial. Because what they're going to do is they're going to give you an alluvial to help you fight that Doka. Here we're going to travel to stage 0. You can see these are the different stages, and what this changes the quality of the alluvials and the minerals and plants that you can farm. And we'll cover that more, but just keep this in your mind that stage 0, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, but there's also different costs associated to it as well. Okay, now that we're back, the Doka is going to be back here. You can see on that hill. If I press Q for my visor, you can't see him. That's one of the reasons why one of the first things we're going to be doing is farming to upgrade your visor. If it sees me, you'll see it at the top of my compass in that area. You'll see its portrait come up, and then you'll see a bar. But if you see that bar pop up, that means it's seen you and it's going to start running away. It sees me. So I'm going to shift. I'm going to press F. And then now I'm going to shoot it a few times before I land on the ground. Here, we're just going to jump back in and fight it. Move my ranger here, and then I'm going to select my weapon. If you just drag here and then onto your ranger, left click, you can see that this icon, this is how you know that it's been equipped. Now they gave you an alluvial for you to use. This is a Grocko. And the Grocko is a bulwark, which is a tank. So I'm going to place him in the front line. You have consumables. Your consumables you farm from plants, but you don't really have to worry about this till later. You're just going to drag, left click onto the alluvial you want it to apply to. Basically, they'll be using that consumable during the match for the bonus stats or whatever other abilities that it has. So you can just highlight here. You'll see the consumable. And then on the bottom there, you can see gained 150 max health, 15 physical and energy resistance. Now we're ready to begin the battle, and I'm just going to click start, and then they're going to move to the closest unit to attack. Now that we won the battle, we have the opportunity to capture the alluvial. These are the shards that we made earlier at the forge. If you run out, you're just going to go back and you're going to farm the specific regions and stages for the shards that you need and go back to your forge. They act like Pokeballs. Click on the alluvial that you want. You can see the capture rate here is 61.84%, and then you just click confirm. Your drone is going to try to capture the Illuvio. So I'm assuming that's just going to be RNG on the back end, depending on the drop rate. And then if you don't capture it, the Illuvio will pop out. But if you do, the drone will have a celebration dance like this. And then now that we've finished capturing that Illuvio, that's the last part for this tutorial, as you can see.
Now that we're finished with the tutorial, this is where most beginners get confused. The next video is going to cover what to do and how to get to endgame fast so that you can farm the current airdrop or get to endgame so that you can make money.